NutriCast. Introducing Instagram teen accounts, a new way to keep your teens safer as they grow, like making sure they've got the right gear for riding.
Knee pads.
Check.
And helmet?
Done. See you, Dad.
New Instagram teen accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, what the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass f- So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Dollar bets, dollar bets, dollar bets. We've got another special dollar bets this morning.
Ooh.
Welcome back to the US of AZ.
That's right.
How you doing?
Right. I'm back for some American sports. American sports brought me back, baby.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, now that I get to see you on camera, you definitely got a little bit of color.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just a really poor lighting in my apartment, and like it's also the color.
Yeah, no, you definitely have an actual hue.
What a stud!
You do not match the wall behind you.
What an experienced stud that does not match his off-white. I'm off-white now. Like,
all right, tell our listeners about your recent trip real quick before we get into it.
I went to Belize.
Yeah, Belize Navidad.
It was a Belize Navidad full on, and it was amazing. There is even a picture of me like pretending like I'm putting a star on top of the Christmas tree that was at the resort. It's hilarious. I'll have to send that. Like, it looked pretty good. It looked like I was really doing it, but I also
I'm guessing they don't really have actual Christmas trees as we know them down in Belize.
Yeah, I think they probably import them or have fake ones. Yeah. Hey, that's a market opportunity. Oh, believe it or not, I was thinking of all the market opportunities there. They don't really have apples, like they import apples. We need to go in there and undercut the completely undercut the what are they? The Mennonites. They produce 70%. There's Mennonites there, that a large community, they produce 70% of the agriculture. I was like, what? It was like a in-season acquisition in 1958 that they brought in all these Mennonites, and then they live mostly aside, like on the side of the New River in this like massive community, and I was like, what? It's amazing. And they're like, the tour guides, oh yeah, 70% of the agriculture is made, produced by, and they do everything, and we're like, what?
Okay.
Cool. Right. Okay. So we're going to come in there and undercut their market share.
Okay. And then one last question for our listeners that are deciding whether or not to take a trip to Belize.
Awesome.
Does everybody speak English down there, or
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. Spanish is the language though, right?
No, it's English. It's the only country in Central or South America, I believe. I know definitely in Central America that English is the official language, because it was British Honduras until 1981. They changed the name before that, and then they got their independence. If you're going down there, go down for September 21st, rainy season, but it is their Independence Day, and they go nuts.
Okay. So they shortened Belize or British Honduras to Belize. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, they go nuts to butts on September 21st, man.
Right.
Also, there was randomly a Bills and like Cubs like sports bar like they had a Cubs flag and they had a giant Josh Allen poster, and I was like, Josh Allen is Jaw provides, and it was amazing. Like, I got there, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely winning my fantasy matchup, and I crushed it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for the Belizeans, September 21st is already football season, so probably not going to be going there. But let's talk a little football.
Yeah, let's talk some football, man.
Here we go. So this is actually a conversation that I saw yesterday on PTI, but I thought it was a great one, and I kind of want to have it here.
Okay.
So since the beginning of time, the first Saturday after the Army-Navy football game is when the NFL starts putting games on Saturdays.
Yeah.
since the beginning of time. But this year, with the 12-team playoff, this Saturday, we've got the first round of the playoffs, but we also have two really awesome NFL games in the AFC that have implications.
Yeah, what
Those
a
games
botch
being,
job.
yeah, we got Houston at KC, and then
Yeah.
more importantly, we got Pittsburgh, Baltimore. So
Yeah,
my
Pittsburgh,
question to
Baltimore is
you,
bigger. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
my question is to you, what has your attention on Saturday, the first round of the playoffs or these NFL games?
um, oh, those two games. I'm gonna watch the college football playoffs, I think. I found out my partner's joint party with her friend for birthdays is in the evening, so I'm watching the day games, baby, baby. And I get to watch the MSU game that day, and I get to watch the college football playoffs games until like 7 or so. Yeah, I'm gonna
And
monitor.
just so you don't confuse our fans, that MSU game has nothing to do with the college football playoff. That's a basketball
No, of
game.
course not. Yeah, never ever. Not gonna happen. Not gonna do it. I would say I'm gonna have this is a three screen approach with my mouth open for like 7 hours at least, from 12 to 7. I'm going. Well, the thing is, partially is like our cable package is sling from other people, and because we're saving money, so I can gamble, and so I'm gonna have like what networks are they on? Like NBC or
The football playoff games,
no the NFL ones.
the NFL games are on, let's see, Houston KC is on NBC in the cock, and
Okay.
Pittsburgh Baltimore is on Fox.
Pittsburgh Baltimore was a Fox. Okay, so I'll give you my viewing. I'll give you my screens are gonna look like maybe have the Chiefs on the cock, and we're gonna have we don't have the Fox feed for some reason. Only Fox Sports, like FS1 or whatever. So we're gonna do, and Big Ten is also on computer for me. So I'm gonna watch that. Not at all, probably, because I don't have in my fantasy semis. I don't have any Ravens. I don't have any Steelers, and my opponent doesn't have any Ravens or Steelers. So I'm like, pass on that. And I'm gonna watch college football playoffs. What's the college football playoff schedule, sir? Do you have it memorized? Oh, he's off the screen, and I'm gonna tell he's gonna refill in his bevy. Oh, there
Yeah,
you go.
yeah. I was trying to give you the signal to keep talking so I could fill my glass.
What'd you drink? Water, agua.
I even put my computer on mute so you wouldn't hear the faucet in the background.
Oh, you got in
Apparently,
that
that did
tap.
not transmit.
Detroit City tap water. Let's go.
Oh, we got some good water here in the D. This is the
I
Great
know
Lakes
it
state.
ain't
Come on,
Flint.
man.
It ain't Flint, man. That's why I said let's go. Let's go water, man. You got them iron flakes, baby. Let's
Hmm.
do it. Potassium and iron right in that shit.
All right. So,
So
college.
what's the 12 o'clock game?
What's the first one? The first one is, oops, not that.
SMU
This
Penn
one.
State, I imagine.
Um,
East Coast.
what is going on here? Why do you keep doing that?
The night game is probably Ohio State.
All right, we'll just go to the bracket here. Here we go.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Probably
We
Penn State
got the
first,
early
Texas.
game of 1 o'clock game. Oh no,
Oh, cool.
why is this all messy? 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Yeah, SMU Penn State.
And
But
then Texas.
then Texas, Clemson, then Ohio State,
I
Tennessee. But
called
before we
that. I
get
called
to
that
all
right
of
down the
that,
line. Okay.
before we get to
Nice.
all of that, we've got Friday night lights.
Friday Night Lights, and that is
We got the
Indiana.
Battle of the Hoosier State, Indiana at Notre Dame.
Pretty awesome. I don't think they've played in football in probably years and years and years, if ever.
Let's do some research. I'm going
It's
to
not a
research that
rivalry.
while you tell us your thoughts on this game.
So my thoughts on this game are, first off, from a gambling perspective, which is what our show is about, and sports picking and sports nitpicking. I would say it's Indiana's 7 point or 7.5 or 6.5, somewhere in there. Underdogs. I would put Indiana to either keep it at 7.5 or take it to like 10.5. And just I'm taking Indiana. I actually like them straight up in this game. I like that, like they haven't played virtually anybody. However, they're really, really, really well coached. They'll be really motivated. The Ohio State game that got away from them specifically was a special teams issue that's field wonky and fluky. When you drop a punt snap and then you also give up a punt that hits a couple times on the ground, the Ohio State guy like makes a surprise move to get it. It throws off your coverage because you like freeze for a second. You're like, oh, like you saw a bear. You're like, oh, and then they go just get bolts to the end zone. It completely changed the complexity of the nature of that game. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna write that off. I think they're decent, and I think Notre Dame hasn't played anybody since Texas A&M at all.
Sure.
So,
All right.
yeah,
So
I like
first of all, let me
Indiana.
give you a little history here. Indiana versus Notre Dame all time. Notre Dame leads the series 5-1, one tie. All right, but these two
Yeah.
teams have not played each other since 1991,
Oh,
and the time that they played before that was 1958. So not a lot of recent history.
why
Um,
1991? I wonder. That's weird.
that it does not say here.
I wonder if
But
someone. I wonder if someone canceled on Notre Dame and like, if you can
did
even
somebody
do. Were you even
ghost
allowed
Notre
to?
Dame?
Yeah, were you allowed to do that? Ghosting Notre Dame. Oh, ugh. They're like,
Holy
no,
ghosting Notre Dame?
they Holy ghosted Notre Dame. Yeah.
All right, but back to this year's game.
Yeah.
I do agree with you in the pick. I am also taking Indiana in this game. Um, Notre Dame, really strong rushing team, really good O line. Indiana, really good against the run, really good defensive front.
Hmm.
Um, so it becomes a battle of quarterbacks. Who's going to get it done in the air with their arm? And I'm trusting Indiana. I
Yeah,
think
I think
Indiana even goes into South Bend and makes touchdown Jesus cry. That game is
touchdown Jesus
tonight.
is weeping. He's retreating to baby touchdown Jesus in the nativity scene of
No,
elimination.
baby Jesus is the best Jesus.
Best Jesus,
Didn't
full
Talladega Nights teach you anything?
full of promise, everything in front of him, baby Jesus, best Jesus.
Yep. So, all right.
Immortalized in the
So we do
and
not have a bet to start off our college football viewing.
I'm
So
not
let's.
surprised. I'm not surprised though, because I feel like you've seen at least enough as much of Indiana as you have of Notre Dame, and so it's
I've
like,
seen more of Indiana than I've seen of Notre Dame.
yeah, so we're like, wait, like they're pretty consistent without that 10-minute window of the special teams disasters and crap. I mean, they got
No.
pushed around a little bit against Ohio State, but it was like they would have been in that game and the Ryan Day-ness of it would have like been an issue for them because I think they would have stayed in and maybe pulled the upset if they didn't have that special teams thing. So don't drop a punt snap and don't outkick your coverage slash like stop covering them when the ball hits the ground and assume they're not going to pick it up. And then you have a shot. And by have a shot, I mean, I think you're going to win. So,
Gonna win. All right. Let's move to
Cincinnati, baby.
tomorrow's games.
Yes.
Um, should we go chronological? We'll go chronological. We'll
We'll go
start
chronological,
with
baby.
Southern Methodist, formerly of the college football death penalty fame,
Yeah.
and Penn
Southwest
State.
Conference. Yeah.
Penn State, and we won't mention their scandal because we've got kids
Yeah.
listening. Um, who you got? What are your thoughts in this one?
Ugh. This is like these were two teams I had marked for death. But someone has to win. I am gonna say that Penn State's running game, I'm gonna say their offensive coordinator is probably a future star. Um, he is a first year coach there. I forget where he was at before, but he had some other stop and it was like interesting hire, and then it was like great hire because it's
Yeah.
not Franklin. Like Franklin recruits, but Franklin does not provide victory in key moments. But can one argue that this is not exactly a Franklin game and that they're gonna win? Yes, I'm gonna say yeah. Because SMU had their shot to be they still would have been like the 11 seed instead of the 12 seed, but like
Yep.
they just you know what? This is like a coach off of like the overpaid coaches or the SMU coach is about to be overpaid. Um I think those, you know how I feel about these these things like decision windows that really magnify in my mind, and I'm like, you can't trust this guy ever again, and that's what the SMU coach is for me. So I'm giving the edge to the Penn State offense coordinator because of that decision. You get all this momentum, you tie the game, and then you kick it in a returnable kick, and then you give up ass and you give up a 56-yard field goal to lose, and you backdoor in the playoffs only because a Michigan AD was foolish enough to go on record saying that we're not punishing a team that loses a conference title game. But what if they choke it? Like, if you choke it, you deserve not to be in there. So it's like, I think you agree with me that SMU is like just there and they're not going to win.
So, first of all, a little research done in the background while you were talking. Penn State's OC, Andy Kotelnicki, formerly the OC at Kansas.
Yes, that's the one. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But back to SMU. First of all, I do, and I'll just restate something I said in our last episode before you went down to Belize. I think the seeding was wrong here. I think Clemson should have been 11 and SMU 12. So I don't think this matchup should even be happening. But in that game,
Yeah.
SMU Clemson, SMU, other than that frantic comeback at the end to force overtime, they looked not good against
They
a
looked horrible.
Clemson team that is not good. So
Yeah.
Penn
I mean,
State for most of the
Clemson's not
season,
top 10, top 12.
yeah, Penn State has looked very good most of the season. I just think they're a better team. They're a more talented team. I am glad that you did not spend 10 minutes telling us your feelings about James Franklin just now. Penn State wins this. We both agree.
Yeah, no, I mean the guy's name's Andy, so I like his approach. Yeah,
Oh,
the
maybe we got to
Kansas.
get him on as a guest on Dollar
No,
Bets.
he should be their coach. Like their offense has some creativity to it, and in a non Franklin way. And then it's like the Franklin margin of.
Don't make me blow the whistle, Z. I just complimented you on your restraint.
I know. I'm just saying, like his ability to get his touch point on this situation is a little bit smaller because of the brilliance so far of the offensive coordinator, Andy K. AK. He's going to put up AK 47 on SMU. 47.
Oh, you even doing a score prediction for this one?
47 to 24.
Okay. I'm not going to be so bold, but Penn State will win.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. What's the next game?
Clemson,
Texas.
Blowout,
right? This game does not interest me at all.
I think it's
take
not
my dog for a walk at that point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a dog walk of a game. Like they're just going to guide them to a 37 to 13 win or something like that.
Here's my prediction though.
Yeah.
For this game. I think probably at least by the beginning of the fourth quarter, but maybe even by the third quarter, we see Arch Manning in the game.
Really?
Yeah.
In terms of taking over or like just like a couple series or like a.
No, I just think the game's going to be in hand and they'll take out Ewers.
To protect it for injury stuff. You know what? I don't know. I think it's more, when I say blowout, I'm more like kind of like, you know how when they played Michigan, we get to talk about Michigan getting crushed. It was like early on, you're like, oh, they don't belong on this field with them. But it took a while for it to really roll over. And I think that Clemson has some pride and there's a couple of decent players, but like, I think that it's just the scheme and the physicality of Texas compared to where Clemson's at right now as a program. I think Texas has some issues sometimes, but Clemson ain't their issue. You know, they got this.
No. I think their issue is that they should have made the move to Arch long ago on a permanent basis, but we'll see what happens. All right, but
especially with the margin of error especially the margin of error of the playoffs provides you 2-3 losses, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. So 3 games in, we still don't have a bet. Let's see if this last one can save us. I think it will. Tennessee at Ohio State in the Saturday night game.
You first, sir.
Me first, sir. All right. I just All right, what was the last thing that we really saw of Ohio State? We saw them against Michigan get upset, and Ohio State was just completely taken off their game, right?
They
Michigan
look
turned
like
that
what is
into
their yeah, like what is their game? I mean, they look like absolute horrific trash in that game.
yeah. I don't think that happens again. I think they from the get-go just turn on the Jets on their offense and just
Hmm.
use their superior talent, get out to a lead, and they coast. So I am going
Interesting.
Ohio State in this game, probably
Yeah.
by at least 10 points.
Ooh.
Yeah, double digit.
I wonder if I should pivot my thing to just get you to bet on the 7 points, like because I'm taking Tennessee straight up. They have was Pierce, is that their edge rusher? And they have a really good tackle, and then they have a really good running back. Not as good as the combined forces of Ohio State's backs, but like the quarterback is young, he's uneven, but like his ceiling is so much higher than Howard's. So Howard's ceiling is like the ceiling of Indiana Jones that keeps sinking and sinking and sinking on Indy, and it's gonna come up, it's gonna bite him because he's not that great. And I don't know, man. It's like Heupel is like, first off, sidebar on Heupel. Does he look like he ever played sports? He was an elite college quarterback, and he's not that. He's like younger than us, and it's like, ooh, man, use some of that money to get fit, boy. Anyways, Heupel. Sorry to dog Heupel while also picking Tennessee, but I think that maybe you underestimate some of their high level talent that they have, and that's actually in key spots: edge, tackle, offensive tackle, and running back. So those are positions that can like kind of neutralize overall talent advantage, and maybe Heupel does coach well in this game because Day probably will feel the pressure and something will happen with Howard and Day. The Day and Howard and Chip Kelly triumvirate will give ass, I think, ultimately. Um, I do think this is a good matchup because Ohio State does have the talent advantage overall. I mean, they spent $20 million. You should hope that they do. But Tennessee actually has a lot of talent, and it's just like I don't know how healthy they are, but like they've also had like 3 weeks off. I think 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks off. I
Yep.
don't know, man. I think this could be a close game. I think I'll take the dollar bet, but I mean, if you want to pivot to a spread bet instead, I'd happily do that as well, or instead. I'll leave that up to
Yeah,
you. I mean,
yeah, we'll just go straight money line, as is the
yeah,
tradition.
baby. As
You
tradition.
guy that you were talking about, James Pierce Jr. For Tennessee, 7.5 sacks on the season.
Pretty decent.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I mean, he's projected as a top half of the draft, first round type of player. And it's just like, I feel like Ohio State definitely has some guys that you're like, in a couple years, you're like, wait, he went to Ohio State? I don't remember. I don't remember him dominating. It's because, Ryan Day. Um, like, especially on the offensive side, I'm sure there's, oh, I've had an energy drink. I never drink energy drinks. And I'm like, oh, they, like, their line is probably really strong. And we, like, don't know any of their individual players because you're like, they don't push, they, 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 like, spend too much time in the wrong matchups. Ohio State does pushing, trying to push the line of scrimmage. And the other matchups, they just dink and dunk with, like, their receivers and not in space. And you're like, what are you doing? And
Yeah,
we're gonna be like, these guys were like so good, and we didn't know it because Ryan Day.
yeah. I mean, listen, they got an awesome tandem in the running back in the
Mhm.
backfield, right, with speed.
Anderson and yeah,
Attack the edges, and then you
exactly.
got maybe the best wide receiver in the college football right now.
They have two of
Maybe,
the best like seven at least, right?
yeah. And if they don't have the best, then they have one of the top two.
They're the best combination for sure.
Best combination, yes. Let's go with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just use your skill positions. Like,
Right,
no
right. And your
college
tight
team
end
can
too,
keep
and
up with
like,
the weapons that Ohio State has.
but Chip Kelly's washed. He's just washed, and it's like I
So
don't
they
know
got
why.
then they got to go rogue. Just go rogue in the huddle.
Oh yeah, Howard's like, hey man, I'm playing for my career.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't going down like this with this Chip Kelly bullshit. Like, no. And this isn't about saving Ryan Day's job. It's not about the OHIO. It's about the HOWARD. We're going to the playoffs.
Wait, what does that spell?
Howard.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Bill Howard's gonna be like, "This is the bar time." Like down in the pit in Goonies, like up there, it's their time. Their time up there. Where it's down here in the playoffs, it's our time. It's our time down here. He's like Sean
Wow.
Astin in the Goonies, basically.
Goonie reference for the win. All right.
Mhm.
So, with the predictions that we've made, this is our hypothetical second
Yes.
round, quarterfinal
Yes.
round. We both have Georgia versus Indiana.
Hmm.
Both have Boise State versus Penn State. We both got Arizona State against Texas. And then you've got Oregon versus Tennessee. I've got Oregon versus Ohio State. Um,
Yes.
so real quick, we're not going to discuss these games too much, but let's just go through how we predict that hypothetical bracket playing out.
That
Um,
round, yeah. That
in the
quarterfinals round,
bottom
yeah.
half, which by the way, this bracket is so unbalanced. Like
Yeah, I
it's
mean, yeah, it is
yeah,
because
yeah,
they're seeded based on they're not like it's not like for TV or glitzy like it's just like okay burp, 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 burp. And there was
yeah,
no shuffling. There's no shuffling. And
yeah,
it's because of the format, which I think is fair, but like it also projects like a weird bracket because like the four conference winners thing, most of the time I was telling a friend this as well. I'm like, it's just magnified of like any flaws in it because the first year we happen to have Arizona State and Clemson and SMU type situation and Boise, and you're like, okay, well, that's not gonna happen every year. So like, can we just like stop with like hammering this thing and enjoy a 12-team playoff? Um, but that said, yeah, it's kind of a weird, wonky situation with Oregon not getting on paper not getting rewarded. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Because I mean, that Oregon Ohio State game is probably that's definitely the best game of the quarterfinals, or even if it's Tennessee.
hypothetically, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
All right. So, in the bot, we'll start from the bottom of the bracket here. Georgia versus Indiana. Who you got?
I got Georgia, but I think that would be closer than expected. I think Georgia's physical nature
Yeah.
and the fact that Kirby Smart is the best coach by a wide margin in in college football now. I think that Cignetti's pretty damn good, but like I think the experience, the the depth of defense and some of the skill players on them. I mean, if George is like a decent quarterback and a passing game away from being like just destroying teams again, like honestly, they're good.
All
They're
right.
good. He's good. Georgia,
So
Georgia,
much for
Georgia.
keeping it short. Here we go. We're running through these, Z.
Sorry.
Yeah. Georgia, yeah, Georgia beats Indiana.
Yeah, yeah.
Boise State versus Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl. Who you got?
Jeanty by a milli. Boise State, 100%.
Yup, me as well. All right, going up to the top of the bracket in the Peach Bowl, we both have Arizona State and Texas.
Ooh, this was reluctant Texas, but I think it's just the overall talent and experience. But Arizona State, look out. That program, look out. Their coach he might be insane, but like he's really young and he's really passionate. And it's the NIL era. Arizona State that's a big ass school. If they step up their game and get out of debt and pay for NIL, they're going to be really good. I
Yeah.
mean, he's not going anywhere. Where was he going to go? It's his alma mater. Like, and it's Arizona State. It's not like they're like Stanford academics and they're like, oh, we're not going to like admit you. Like, no, they're going to admit them and they're going to pay them.
No.
So
First of
Arizona,
all, the
yeah,
alma mater thing is not, you know, a permanent thing. Look at Michigan State. Their coach, Jonathan Smith, left his alma mater.
yeah, but he left him because Oregon State was in a conference of two teams. They
Yeah,
had
the
no money.
Tupac.
It was a Tupac, but it's like he he left the Tupac before he got Tupac by the schedule and like ruining his career.
Yeah,
Instead, he's slowly ruining his career, but making a lot of money. So
yeah,
he made the right choice, and like I think that's kind of a fallacy. Like look at Jonathan Smith. But like
Not John L. Smith. Thank you very much.
John L. Smith could coach
Not
offense.
not not talking about him. I won't. No, sorry. Not having tears on the air
No,
right
but
now.
you think the alma mater thing is situationally like a wash?
Yeah.
No, no. That job. Who wants to coach there?
Uh,
Arizona State alum only, basically. So yeah.
it's a party school. Anybody with a liver would want to go there.
And you need like
Anyway.
extra liver. That's in his contract. He's got a rollover liver arrangement.
All right, but you got Texas in this game?
I do, but I think it's gonna be like it's it'll take midway through the third quarter for Texas to kind of overpower them, I think.
Okay, yeah. I
And
mean,
it could go the way of Arizona State, honestly, but
it
yeah.
couldn't. Texas on to the semifinal. All right, we got
Texas
one
by a
more
millie.
game.
Okay.
One more game here in the quarterfinals. We got, well, all right, so you've got Tennessee against Oregon. Who are you picking in
Whoa.
that game?
Oregon gets it together for
Okay.
a full game.
And I've got Ohio State versus Oregon, a rematch of an earlier game this season. And you know what? Ohio State with the redemption, taking out the number one team. Goodbye, Oregon. All right. So, our semifinal round, we both agree in the bottom of the bracket. We've got Georgia, Boise State. Who you picking there?
Jeanty, Boise.
Wow. Okay. You know
And
I'm
it's
Jeanty's number one fan, but I am going Georgia here, even with the backup quarterback.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. I think Georgia, that's kind of a wild card, right? Because we know what Beck is. We don't know what this guy's gonna do and how the coaching staff's gonna adapt over those couple weeks.
Listen, he came in the SEC championship and he didn't look awful. So
He looked
Boise State
fine.
is a one-dimensional offense. Um, I just think Georgia is too big, too physical. They're still the better team. I take Georgia over Boise, but I wouldn't mind being wrong. Let the legend of Ashton Jeanty continue.
I think, yeah. Would you agree that Jeanty provides a high floor for their system, their offense, because it's like the play action and the pressure on the receivers and stuff and the quarterback is a little lower because it's like if you stack the box with there's stack the box and then stack the box to stop in the inevitability of Thanos Jeanty, like freaking running for 4+ yards a carry, like and it's like tackling him in the fourth quarter, third
His
quarter. It's
average is
like
7.3 on the season,
exactly, but it would be lesser against Georgia, right? But like
naturally.
remember Walker, you're like okay, oh, he's gonna, and then like all of a sudden he breaks like two in the fourth quarter, deep runs. You're like, okay. So I kind of took it all into consideration of like, you know, in this hypothetical, which I think is going to happen, is how this backup quarterback has a lower ceiling, higher floor than Beck, because I think he's going to make less like they're going to coach him away from making less critical errors that Beck was doing all season long for the most part. So I don't know. So it's
All
like
right.
it's going to be interesting, right? Go ahead. Go ahead, sorry. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Um, we'll agree to disagree. All right.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a good one though. Okay.
In
So
the
we
other
got
semifinal,
yeah.
in the Cotton Bowl Classic, Texas. I've got Texas and Ohio State. I am going to say that Ohio State goes deep into the heart of Texas and takes the victory.
Ooh.
But you've got Texas and Oregon. What say you?
Yeah. I'm sticking with Oregon all the way through so far. I do
Okay.
think that this could be a game where it's like the role players and I mean football can still have role players, right? The secondary weapons that aren't Gabriel and Ewers will show out, and then I think those two guys will kind of like step on their feet a little bit, because I don't think Gabriel is like he's not like a sure thing pro because he's not that big. He throws interceptions in the red zone, but guess what? Ewers does a lot of things that you're like, oh, because you're like pressing for Arch like all season long, and next year you'll be proven like correct, I'm sure, or if not this year.
Mhm.
I think Oregon and Texas they have similarities in their speed and their receiving game. You're like, oh, who's this guy? And they're like their lines are good. They're just good teams. This is probably the real national title game in my mind. Either way, I think because if Ohio State in your bracket gets their shit together, Ohio State and Texas would be the most two talented teams left of those four. So
Yeah.
either way, what you
So
got?
you got Oregon over Texas. So your hypothetical final is Oregon versus Boise State, a rematch of a game played in Oregon earlier this year that Oregon won by only 3 points. So now what happens on a neutral field?
Where's this game being played? I have Oregon.
I
I'll
think it's
start.
Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken.
AT Aliens. I got Oregon's speed and their ability, their offensive line to hold up, and I think it's too much. It's going to be a shootout, I think.
Yeah, the game's at Atlanta.
Yeah, it's on turf. Jeanty's going to be like vaulted in the top 7, I think, picks. I don't think Dallas is going to get their hands on him if someone else is going to snap him up.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I got Oregon though. I think it'll be closer than one would think in a situation where Boise makes the title. You're like, oh, and they're like, oh, wait. How about you? What you got? Ohio State and
So I have Ohio State versus Georgia, the 8 and the
yeah,
2. And you know what? Like,
do it.
I'm
Do
not
it.
crazy that this is the two teams that I ended up with. Like, if I was
Yeah.
just looking at the bracket at the beginning, like, I would not say, okay, I'm going to end up with Ohio State and Georgia. It's just the way that this bracket ended up going for me. That's
Mhm.
who I ended up with.
Yeah.
And I think the uncertainty with the quarterback position at Georgia, I don't feel confident enough to give them the chip. So I'm going with
Yeah.
the Buckeyes.
I
I
think
can't
that's
believe
I
it.
think that's probably the right pick. I think if they get rolling, if they wake the hell up, I think that they probably have they have the highest ceiling of any team in this playoff bracket. It's just we've never seen it, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, from a talent perspective, I think it's Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, Georgia in that order. And I just think from the coaching perspective, it's Oregon second, Georgia obviously first with Kirby Smart, and then Ohio State fifth out of those four with Ryan Day. But yeah, like they get rolling though, it doesn't matter, right? It's like, oh, these players are gonna be like, oh, are they letting us do things like that we're naturally capable of? Like hide Howard's mistakes, number one, pass the ball to the receivers, and just line up and hit them in the mouth. What do you got? What's your keys for Ohio State, Georgia?
Um, Same as it was for every other game with Ohio State. I don't think when they are playing at their best, I don't think a college defense can stop their skill players.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, but I
And
think
I
it's
know that Ohio State doesn't have the best quarterback out there. Certainly doesn't.
who does
Um,
though, right?
what's that?
Like who does? There's not a surefire NFL quarterback in this freaking playoff.
Um, there really isn't. Yeah, Cam Ward, who's being put real high in mock drafts, isn't in there. Shadeur Sanders, who's real high. Jalen Milrow, who's high in mocks. Like none of
Yeah,
those guys made the playoff. So this is going to be a chance for somebody else to make a name for themselves.
yeah, yeah.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, we're going to see if anybody can play on Sundays, or
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
as happens to be the case this weekend, on Saturdays. So let's talk some NFL.
Yes, sir. What's the lead,
Let's
bro?
So we had a game last night, Thursday
Oh
night
yeah,
football, my least favorite thing in the world.
I didn't
Um,
watch it.
yeah, me neither. But we did have a bet on it.
We did. I thought
We
I
did.
was
We had
cruising.
Broncos at Chargers. I fell asleep at halftime, and I looked at the score, and it was definitely going your
21-13.
way at halftime.
I got free kicked, man. I want my dollar back.
Yeah, I don't really know this rule. This was a very obscure rule that,
Yeah.
but whatever, you were still up by what, 8 points at half? And
Yeah.
second half
Yeah.
turned out to be all Chargers, and I won $1. So Week
You
is
won a
off to a
dollar.
good start for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't pay up though yet. We'll balance. We'll
I know we
settle
got
balanced
15 more
after.
games plus the four college or plus the one playoff game that we bet differently on. So
Yep. All right. So NFL games, we're gonna roll through the first half of these, and then we'll talk about some of the later ones where we actually have bets. But we got
yeah,
Texans at Chiefs,
Chiefs.
Chiefs,
Cheers.
Steelers at
Mahomes playing.
Ravens. I actually
Ravens.
took a couple seconds on this one, but yeah, I went
Yeah,
Ravens.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, it's going to be a good matchup, but yeah,
All right.
Ravens.
Game that I am most excited for this weekend. Giants at Falcons. We've got the beginning of the Penix era. Not happy
Penix.
that Kirk Cousins was benched. I still don't like that Atlanta drafted Penix and created this whole mess, but I've been vouching for Penix since before the draft. So here's my chance for to see how this gets going. So I am
Yeah,
picking Penix in his debut.
I mean, I am too, but not because of Penix. I think it's just
Oh
the
yeah,
Giants
also they're playing the Giants.
are Giants starting Ted. Is it what's Boyle's first name? Tim?
Tim Boyle.
Timothy Boyle.
Timmy.
QB4. He's QB4 on the Giants. Yeah, I think the Falcons are gonna win.
Yeah. All right.
Technically three because they cut what Daniel Jones, but it's like he's going into the season, he wasn't even on their roster.
Are we
It's
still talking
awesome.
about a Giants game?
You were excited. This is your code. Oh, the 1 o'clock window. This is what I'm most excited about. The Falcons and the Giants. I'm like, oh God.
All right. Now the game I'm really truly most excited for. We got Lions at the Bears.
Ugh.
We got my Lions completely decimated with injury going up against your Bears completely decimated by a coaching staff
Yeah, and a franchise at this point. Like it's
and
not
a
just the
franchise.
coaching stuff. Yeah, yeah.
So, do
It's
you have
like
any faith in your team?
I do. Um, in that they need to lose and
Ah!
get a higher pick. And they need to set it up so that it's Lions and Eagles, and I can bet Lions until they play the Eagles. I have this all arranged in my head, and I'm back. Remember, like I was like, "Hey, they need to play. Williams needs to play well, and they need to lose." Now I'm just like, it doesn't really matter. Williams has put enough good on tape by partially by not throwing any interceptions, and partially with these like doomed fourth quarter comebacks. And it's like, okay, we're good there. You can keep losing now. That's nice. Top six pick and
Yeah.
that would be good for me.
Yeah, listen,
Yeah,
I can't argue with your logic. I definitely am very familiar with the wanting my team to lose, but
yeah,
I'm going
I
to
know.
say this. You do break my heart this week not picking your Bears and dollar betting me. We both have the Lions.
Well,
All
the thing
right.
is, like, I would never even have done this show if I wasn't a pretty decent overall at gambling compared to most. Like, most people lose immediately and either get hooked and chase forever or quit. And I'm like, I've done well enough over, especially over stretches, like multiple heaters where I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay, I'm not cocky, but I'm like, I'm decent. I'm decent. And like, when you're decent, you're like, I'm not betting on the goddamn Bears in December. I'm not
Yeah,
doing it.
but for me, like, so I will sometimes bet different on our show than I do with my actual Vegas picks. Um,
Yeah, I've done
just
that too.
because
I
it's a
think
dollar, and sometimes I just want to bet you.
I know. I've there's a lot of games, that, especially this season, where like, I hope you disagree, so we can get a Patriots bet or like a. It's always the Patriots too. It's like Patriots, Colts, or like whoever. But no,
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
always toilet bowls.
Bear any game is a half toilet bowl, and the Bears are in it this year.
Yeah. All right, let's go through a couple more unanimous games. Browns at the Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals.
Bengals.
They got screwed by the Broncos blowing that lead. I don't think can they still mathematically make it?
The Bengals?
Yeah, Bengals.
Mathematically, let's see if they've updated the standings with any more eliminations. Um, let's see. Cincinnati is not
Yeah, I'm curious.
eliminated.
But that like Denver or the Chargers has to lose out, right?
Yeah, I mean, both those two teams last night were pretty much already guaranteed a playoff spot. Like they were both, no matter the result, we're going to have over a 70% chance of making it.
Yeah, but
So,
that's
they're
no, they
both
weren't
9-6,
guaranteed.
and then the next team is a couple of 6-8, a few 6-8 teams.
Yeah, but if the Chargers had lost when they were down 21-10, like they would have been 8-7, and the Bengals on their way to 7-8. Now it's like the Bengals' path is like,
Yeah. Well, anyway,
yeah.
next game, Titans at Colts. Colts.
Ugh.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Mason Rudolph is
Um,
starting, right?
what's that?
Hey,
Yes.
take us through the next pick. I'm gonna get a beverage because my keep talking.
Okay, I'm gonna keep talking. Next game, but yes, real quick, actually, Titans are making the QB switch. Next game, Rams at Jets. No QB switches here. Although speculation coming out this past week that the Jets will possibly move on from Aaron Rodgers as their starter next year. But even with the home field advantage in this game, both Z and I have picked the Rams to uh, take out the Jets. And
Home field advantage and Jets in the same sentence is hilarious.
yeah, I know. My syntax was off. All right, here we go.
Meadowlands,
Let's
baby.
start making some
Sorry.
bets. We got Eagles at the Commanders. I'll
Yeah.
let you go first on this one.
I'm not saying fly Eagles fly earnestly, but they're gonna win. They're on a roll.
I am going with my heart on this one. I need the Eagles to lose to take some pressure off the injured reserve that is the Detroit Lions. So I went with the Commanders here.
Hey,
So we got a dollar bet. Yeah, this is a
$3.
heart pick, not a head pick, as I like to say.
The heart and the head, man. Yeah, I know,
I'm
man.
going with the heart
I
on
don't
this
like
one.
the
So we are
Commanders.
dollar betting. That game is in Washington.
There's
Is
no
that
home field
stadium
advantage.
actually in Washington? Or is it?
No, it's in Landover, Maryland, which is landfill, Maryland, and it's way far away from public transport, and the traffic's horrible. They were giving tickets away the last 5 years. I don't know what it's like now, but apparently there's probably a lot of it's Eagles. They're like cicadas. They just swarm.
Yeah.
Eagles fans, like that's not a home field advantage at all.
Okay. All right. Speaking of horrible traffic, next game is Arizona. I went to the Lions Arizona game earlier this year. That traffic, that stadium, like, is a logistical nightmare. I would never go to a game there ever again. But anyway,
It's in
fortunately, that
Glendale,
game
yeah.
is not at Arizona. We got Cardinals at Panthers. And we've got another dollar bet for y'all.
Yeah, I thought you would take the Panthers. I feel stupid now.
Well,
You know how we try to
stone.
outmaneuver each other and like, wait, this would be a bet, or like, I don't want to bet on this game. Let me pick the team that I think he'll pick. Like, damn it,
Yeah.
Panthers.
The
Panthers by a
Panthers were
millie.
playing a little bit better for a little bit, but I don't know. I could easily lose this bet. I had the Cardinals for really no
Yeah, I think you're
reason
gonna
other
win.
than all right. So we got a dollar bet. O with the Cards, Z with the Panthers.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a good game. Vikings at Seahawks. Which uniform are the Seahawks going to wear this week?
The ugly
Are they going to
ones.
go with the highlighters again?
Whatever it is going to be ugly or outdated. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's really all I
it's
wanted to talk about this game. Both
but
of us
it's
have
really
the
the
Vikings.
socks and the. Oh, we both took the Vikings. Okay, I thought you were
Yeah.
gonna take the Seahawks. I was like, isn't Geno Smith not playing?
No, but at this point, like, I'm, I just think the Vikings are going to do whatever they can to piss off Lions fans, which means they're going
What deal with the devil to be a regular season juggernaut of a coach did this O'Connell dude make?
I mean,
Right?
that's what it is, right? We're definitely invoking Lucifer here.
But then and it's like part of the deal was like, oh, you didn't read the fine print. You can't be good in playoffs. You have to give ass in the playoffs. Like bet against the first Vikings playoff game. Whatever you do it. It's Darnold in the playoffs. It's O'Connell in the playoffs. The last time O'Connell was in the playoffs, they lost to Daniel Jones and got him paid. Okay? So
Yeah.
who's he going to get paid this time?
The big thing is, what if they end up as, which they probably won't. Well, What if they end up playing the NFC South champion?
It's Tampa Bay, right? They'll lose to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's good.
All right.
They've had
Okay.
injuries, but they're healthier now. Like Godwin's obviously still out, but Evans is back, and McMillan's catching on as a rookie.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We both had the
Baker and
Vikings.
Darnold, dude. Baker versus Darnold on Amazon. Let's go.
All right. Next one up. Pats at Bills. This one was a pretty easy call.
I mean, the Josh Allen mania, the jaw provides mania has permeated Belizean culture. So yeah.
The question in this game, do the Bills score 40 plus for the third game in a row?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to put up enough points to force the Bills into that, so I will take Bills under 40.
You
want
take
to
Bills
prop
under
bet
40. Yeah, screw it. Screw it. I need Josh Allen going in my fantasy playoffs, and I still can't believe I was able to trade for him in a league without pick trading. Yeah, Josh Allen. I want to make that title game, man. It's a grudge match against a rival in the fantasy. Yes. Josh Allen, 41-16. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you trying to write in the chart? Because I feel like I'm trying to write and it keeps messing up.
No, I'm not writing the chart.
Okay. I'm just trying to put this.
He's on an engagement heater, dude. He goes since this bye week where he got engaged, he's just been destroying it.
Yeah.
He's got that glow about him. Josh Allen's betrothed glow all the way to the ship for me, man. Let's go.
All right. Next one. Different toilet bowl. Jags at the Raiders. A 2-win team and a 3-win team. I'm going with the home team Raiders for no reason other than they're the home team.
Yeah, that's another that's the worst home field advantage in the NFL, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, except maybe Jacksonville, right? Carol. Yeah, I got Jags.
You got the Jags, and we got $1 on the line. No prop bets on this one. Neither
Is
of us
it
will
Mac
watch
Jones
this.
against Ritter? Should the prop bet are there more than 1.5 combined passing touchdowns?
Completions?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. This one should be a little more interesting. 49ers at the Dolphins. I'll let you go first on this one.
We have to comment. This is not going to be the one.
You don't have to. You can just state
This
your
is not
pick.
going to be one of the games where you have to like give me the subtle signal of the whistle. It's so funny because, by the way, your profile is like shadowy, and I just see this it looks like you're being like you're talking about some serial killer next door, but you didn't want to be showing your face, and you're like, I just thought he was a nice guy, and you're doing this thing with your hands, where you're like, go talk, stop talking. It's so funny. I'm gonna say Dolphins just hang on by a thread to their stupid playoff hopes, and they win because it's not 10 degrees. So
yeah. So first of all, just talking about the audio visual, I just want to point out to our listeners that my sound is transmitting. You've been able to hear everything.
Exactly. It's funny because I just see I'm in this handsome shadow.
Yeah, it's because I'm sitting in front of a blind closed window with a bunch of sunshine behind me.
I know that's the way it should be. And my blinds are beat to shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's still somebody behind you in that window, but
it's in that 3 Men and a Lady or whatever, 3 Men and a Baby or
3
whatever.
minute, dude, that is absolutely a ghost.
That was
100% a ghost. I know the backstory.
It's a dark backstory.
It's a dark backstory. You know it too. All right, we won't.
Yeah.
It's not Halloween. We can't tell ghost stories right now. But 49ers Dolphins.
Yeah, what's your take on it?
Yeah, so this is actually a bit of a heart pick for me as well. Reports coming out this past week from Miami. If the Dolphins lose and are eliminated from playoff contention, which they would be with a loss, they will release Calais Campbell. Awesome defensive lineman, despite him being in the NFL for 17 years ago. And the reason that I care about this is if they release him, possibility that the Lions could go get him and
Yeah.
help restock a completely decimated defensive line.
Yeah, because he's
So
never won a title. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
go somewhere where you win
so
and you start. You were talking about earlier, win and start combination.
yeah,
The Vertus the axis meets at that point in Detroit. Detroit City.
yeah. So for me, I need the 49ers to win this game so the Dolphins release Calais Campbell so the Lions can get him. So I go 49ers. So we have a dollar bet there. Woohoo!
Woo-hoo.
Um, Not a dollar bet. Bucks at Cowboys. At this point, you just can't take the Cowboys.
I mean, they're doing
Period.
better. Bucks are like on a heater, so
Bucks are good. Baker Mayfield. So we both got the Bucks in that one. And in the last game of the week, Saints at the Packers. Damn you, Packers. But yeah, Packers and
yeah, I
Packers
know.
for us.
Yeah, they're playing against Rattler. We got Ritter and Rattler both starting.
Yeah. How many different quarterbacks have started this year? We got to research that across the
I think
NFL.
43 is my guess.
Yeah. And next year we need to do like at the beginning of the season, do an over under how many quarterbacks will get a start at one point.
Oh, I think the over-under should be like 41 and a half or something.
Yeah.
We'll have to look
So
into it. That's a good idea. Table
yeah.
that. Table
All
that.
right. That's enough of football for today. We got a couple things to discuss.
Yeah.
Real quick in the NBA, there was a pretty um interesting storyline game last night. We had
Mhm.
the New York Knicks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The reason that's interesting is because they had the blockbuster trade of the summer
They
of the
did
offseason.
indeed. They did indeed.
Yep. Towns getting shipped to New York. Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo going to the North Star State. Yeah. And just to rehash that real quick, Z, who do you think won that trade?
Timberwolves.
Yeah, and that's what I said as well.
But it's a long
Um,
term. It's because of the medium and long term proposition is how I think they won it.
yeah,
Got out
yeah,
of the
I
Towns
thought so
money.
too. I thought that that trade would improve Minnesota more than the trade would improve New York. So last night, and this was the first matchup of these two teams since the trade game in Minnesota,
It
and
was?
game was in Minnesota.
No,
Yep.
that was the first match. I thought they already played.
Nope, they play each other one more time in January
Oh,
in New
okay. My
York.
bad.
Yep. So yeah, game in Minnesota, and you know what? New York won pretty handily, 133 to 107. And then let's just look at the people involved in that trade. We'll start with on Minnesota's side, DiVincenzo, who is not a starter. He had 15 points and 6 rebounds, 3 assists.
Pretty good.
Um, but a minus 20 plus minus.
Not good.
Julius Randle, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, minus 13. All right, now let's look at Towns, 32 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, a couple steals, plus 31. So round one favors New York.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Game one, I should say. Yeah.
game one. So neither of these teams are really doing as well as I had thought they were going to do. Minnesota at this point is just a couple games over 500.
Yeah. Are they in the play-in right now?
Let's see. Let's
Yeah.
take a look at the NBA standings. Um, in the come on, refresh page. Oh no.
Dead air. Here we go. By the way, this is hilarious. My dog is like full on eyes open snoring during an NBA talk that like not beforehand, but only during the NBA portion. It's great. Are you there? Oh my God, he froze up. That's great. So my Bulls, my Bulls beat the Celtics, and now do I have to like on the road? Do I have as part of first game of a home and home? So do I have to pay attention to the Bulls now? O's back.
Yeah, I have no idea what just happened there.
Ah, I think you probably have to update your Zoom or something. I don't think it's just your computer.
Yeah, okay. I will update my Zoom. So real quick, Knicks are third in the East, and Minnesota is, yeah, they're in playoff range or play-in range. They're the number 8
Okay.
currently.
I mean, third in the East is like seventh in the West, though, right? Like,
Mm, well, record-wise, it'd be about the same, but yes, there's definitely more talent in the West at current.
yeah, talent and coaching and everything. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's how the East.
So that was that. All right, let's wrap some things up with some Michigan State talk.
Yeah, and
All right.
Michigan State, and a little bit of the background college basketball landscape talk. We're gonna merge that. You went to an awesome game. We had different
Yeah.
experiences from this game. Mine's funny, yours is awesome.
But
Go
hold
ahead.
on. I got a couple other things to plug Michigan
Woo!
State. First of all, Michigan State hockey this past weekend. They were number 3. They went to number 1 Minnesota for a weekend series. They won both games, one in overtime, and now Michigan State is
3 point.
back at number 1 in the national polls. So,
Did they
woo,
get
go green.
5 points from that, or how does that work?
Yes, they got 5 points for that. Yep, that's big. Next thing we're going to talk about the Michigan State women's hoops team. Off to the best start in program history. They are still undefeated, although they
They
do have a
beat.
very
They
hard
beat.
game today against Alabama. Um,
Wait, is
so we'll
Alabama
see.
good?
Alabama's good, but Michigan State might be better. The thing is, Michigan State had a game yesterday. Alabama did not. So we'll see if there's any fatigue. But Michigan State has a very good women's hoops team. So woohoo.
Yeah,
Go
their
Robin
style of
Freilich.
play is
Yeah,
Freilich. Is
Robin
that
Freilich is a great coach. Good things to come for that program. But
yeah?
obviously, we want to talk
Top
about men's
like top
basketball.
20, right? Top 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I was sitting on the baseline taking photos the other day
Ooh.
for a game at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan State versus Oakland. Um, listen, Oakland always plays Michigan State tough just because their coach Greg Campy employs a version of the zone that nobody else does and nobody can prepare for it. So it
It's like
always
an
takes
alien version of 2-3, right? Or is it 3-2? I always forget because you're like, what are they doing? Yeah.
yeah, it's you can't even classify it. But it
He
took
looks so good. He's like so young looking, dude.
Greg
Greg
Campy.
Camp.
Yeah,
What is Greg Campy's
he's
skin
been the
routine?
coach there for 40 years. That's
What is his
10 years
skin
longer
routine?
than Izzo's been the coach in East Lansing.
I know, that's nuts. It's wild.
Yeah.
I
But
love it.
awesome game. And then fun little bit, press conference afterwards. Izzo was in there first, but then Greg Campy just like barged into the room and sat down at the table next to Tom. And we had both coaches talking and like making jokes at one another and just telling stories. And it was absolutely awesome.
And you were in it, right? You were there for
I
it,
was
right?
there. Yeah, I was.
Was everyone just rolling laughing and I could barely get
There
questions
was a
out?
lot of laughter. There was definitely a lot of laughter.
You know they planned it. It was like Step Brothers joint
Dude, I
interview.
mean, they were wearing the same sweater.
I know. It was
Like Greg
great.
Campy ordered the sweater and like got Izzo one. And yeah,
They
it was
had that
awesome.
before, I think, too, right?
Now, this is the first time that they've worn the same sweater. They've worn ugly sweaters in the past, but this is the first time that
Okay,
they
yeah.
coordinated wardrobes.
Honestly, I love Greg Campy. He belongs in the Basketball Hall of
Dude,
Fame. Like,
listen, how great was it that they made it to a Sweet 16 last year?
they did not make it to Sweet 16.
Yes, they did.
No, NC State beat them in overtime.
I have to look this up. I'm pretty sure Oakland's.
Why? I am a human lookup. They did not make it. NC State beat them in overtime. Towson and the shooter guy that was a former Uber driver couldn't quite get it done, and I think one of them fouled out or something. Look at the box score of that, and NC State won by like almost 10 in overtime.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, NC State versus Oakland. The reason I know is because I watched it and the end of it, and I know that NC State made the Final Four. And to make the Final Four, you can't lose in the second round. And their second round opponent was the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. Do 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 do. O looks up the part where Z is right. It's my favorite part.
Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah. Oakland beat Kentucky in the first round.
Yeah, which was
Damn. All
awesome.
right.
Their
Well,
style of play
anyway.
just like great. Yeah, it's okay.
All
It's
right. Will you
okay.
turn that music off?
What music? My song?
What is that? One shining moment?
No, I was singing a Christmas song with Oakland lyrics about you being wrong.
All right. Well, come on. Cut that.
Okay.
That's got to go.
I can't cut the dog snoring with our non-football talk. Dog's like, I don't like football. Fuck you.
All right. Okay, you were right. I was wrong. But
It's all
anyway,
right, man.
Oakland beat
It's
Kentucky
obscure.
in the tournament. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was really
Um,
cool.
I wonder if Greg Campy had any offers for coaching a bigger program after that, but he's not going anywhere.
No, I mean they know. I think it's one of those things they're like they know he's good there. They don't want he probably likes where he's at. Like
Yeah,
it's where is it?
it's in Rochester.
Rochester. That's what I thought. Okay, which is like
It's about
adjacent to you a bit.
30, it's about a half an hour north of Detroit,
It's one
30,
of the
40
cozier
minutes.
suburbs there, right?
It's a nice suburb, indeed.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
All
I'd keep
right.
my job there too.
But Michigan State basketball looking real good.
2-0 in the Big
Couple,
Ten.
yep, couple more cupcakes before the end of the year, I believe.
Florida Atlantic is decent because they still have the shell of that program, but Western Michigan is the next one, I think.
See, I'm pulling it up right now. Florida
The 20 and
Atlantic
30th.
tomorrow, and then Western Michigan on New Year's Eve, Day Eve.
New I love it. NYEE. NYEE and Western. So we're gonna be most likely, say, we're gonna be 11-2, and then we got Ohio State is the first Big Ten game after that, or and Northwestern, is that what the
What the
order
heck?
is? I think it's Ohio State and Northwestern. I think did I tell you I took MSU at like 14-1 and 11-1 to win the Big Ten in a parlay with Auburn to SEC? Why not? Uh-oh. Oh, oh, froze up again. That's great. That's I guess the jury was out on his computer access and access denied. That's an omen for losing a bunch of money to me on dollar bets probably forever. Forever and ever. I rule and O does not rule, and we're gonna keep this going just so he doesn't come back to me just gone. Michigan State looks like a Final Four caliber team right now. Again, Auburn's still there because Broom had a shoulder dislocation, I think, but he's back. And then I was just rambling about Final Four potential teams. Oh, that's great. That's great audio. We're really hurtling towards the brink here. You there? So we got Michigan State, Auburn, and kind of Final Four contenders right now. We like Duke, not like them enjoy them, but like as a contender for Final Four. And yeah, the other Final Four team probably right now, besides MSU, Auburn, and Duke, is what? Like another SEC team, right?
Who? You like Tennessee? You
I
trust
do
them?
not. No, it's Rick Barnes. It's
I'm
Rick Barnes
not
in March.
changing anything in my picks just yet. Not until we really get into conference schedules.
Well, yeah, you had Duke, Kansas, Alabama, and
Zaga.
Zaga, yeah.
Yep. So
I got MSU, Arkansas,
yeah.
Duke,
And
and then I had UConn. So obviously that's my thing, but my revised one was Auburn instead of UConn. But I kept Arkansas in there. So I just like how it's like sometimes you reshuffle the deck and it works out. And I think that Arkansas doesn't work out. Whoa, you look good, man. I told you. When I was saying it was a handsome shadow, now he's got some light and some snow in the background. We look so good.
It is a
Should we
snowy
make this a
day
video
indeed.
show next year? We're gonna come back into mid-August with like video, and you're like, our thing is gonna explode explode. We're gonna
Dude,
go
we're gonna have
like
graphics. We're gonna have like over-the-shoulder cams to see each other Venmoing.
we're
We're going high tech at some point.
We're going to high tech. We're gonna have graphics, and it's gonna be graphic because we are hot.
Woo. Okay, I'm excited.
I'm excited. I'm way too excited, and we have to deal with that. Any pressing thoughts?
No, I got to get to work. I got to go drive my car on the snow.
Fortunately, by the way, Michigan's snow removal is like Minnesota and like Canada, where they're like, we got this. Like, 3 feet of snow, whatever. It's fine. Fine. All right. Go sports. Welcome back to me. Rules. Bye.
Dreaming of the perfect event or longing for a clutter-free space? I'm Stephanie with I'm with Steph, where your vision becomes a reality. From magical weddings to transformative home organizing, we bring you expertise and passion to every project. Whether you're planning a grand celebration or seeking peace through organization, we tailor our services to meet your unique needs. I'm with Steph. To explore our services and connect with me directly, visit I'mWithSteph.com. Mention ElectraCast for a 20% discount.
Hi, everyone. I'm Geraldine Glass, a leader in the field of music as medicine, and I'm excited to share with you my newest release of healing sound, Pentatonic Visions, with Chris Scholler and ElectraCast Records. Immerse yourself in ethereal realms where the harmonies of nature, tribal rhythms, and soundscapes blend with the crystal singing bowls. It's out now, streaming on all platforms.
ElectraCast.